Anyway, I thought you might be interested in seeing that. Um, Again, straightening things out. I mean, I get kind of tired reading some of these books and some of these magazines where these people write these articles, they research, and they only research this much. They don't research the whole picture. They'll talk to Vinny Federo, or they'll talk to, Stewart or somebody, or Ken, whoever. And whatever they say, they print, plus whatever else they want to add to it, they'll dress it up a little bit. And there was a whole piece of business in that one book. It was just called The Base Book. It wasn't the one that Jim Roberts, it was one before that. The guys in England, Tony Bacon, I think his name was. He called me, wanted to interview me too, and yeah, right. Like he really listened. That's the other thing too. These guys don't have very good ears. I don't think. Anyway, there was a section in that book where I guess they had interviewed Vinny, or maybe they just made it up. I'm not sure. But it was on about Vinny and the guy that made the headless bass, Steinberger. Yeah. They designed this whole thing, They weren't even making instruments when I did this. Make no mistake, I could care less if anybody ever knows anything about me. Whether I did this or not is not important to me. If no one ever even knew who I was, it would be okay with me. I'm not about that, and I mean that. But if you are going to start printing stuff about things, you might as well get it right. And I can assure you, this neck construction was not done to get more sustain. It wasn't done to make a neck through construction or simulated this or any of that other bullshit. What it was Carl was having trouble getting that neck joint square. And I said, I'm going to go get a glass of brandy, sit down with my pad, my pencil, and I'm going to see if I can make a hole without making a hole. It was just the way I talk. I talk like that all the time. And people like Mike Parisi, and today people like Joe and Pete, Kelvin, they're in that same zone. They look at me when I say things like that. I remember Mike always said, what a guy. If you can make a hole without making a hole, you're the only guy that could do that, Carl. I'm sure you could do it. And that's basically what it is. We made the whole neck construction. That's what it was for. And I remember talking to Vinny one time on the phone about that. I wasn't coming down on him. I don't come down on anybody like that. It's just, I was just reminding myself, that kind of bothered me that was in there like that, And his response to me, which I thought was really very flippant, he said, well, you know how we used to all stand around and talk about who knew what came up with who. Vinny, seriously, man, you weren't even around when I was doing this shit. No big deal. You did a lot of wonderful things, Vinny. You didn't do this. You did it after the fact. Again, I could care less whether anybody knows that or not. It seems to me that a lot of people want to be known for doing things, even if they didn't do them. It kind of bothers me. It's like that thing on what's his name down in Pennsylvania that did that thing in the bass. What's his name? The guitar villa down there with John Slog. Yeah, when he did that. Les Claypool, Rainbow Bass article. Carl selected the wood for all the tonal responses and all that. And that's how, put them in order so that's all bullshit. Why these guys decide to do that is beyond me. I don't need that kind of promotion. I don't need any kind of promotion. I'm Carl Thompson. And I just do things. And I surround myself with people who want to do things. And that's what it's all about. But, for Vinny to make a comment, I never stood around and talked to Vinny about anything. I remember I was at his shop once when I first came back. You all told me, I remember I told you I was back in 85. I was really sick. My thyroid gland went down. And when I came back, Vinny was on the scene, and I got his number from somebody because he had a nice preamp that somebody in New Jersey was making, Henry Sachek or something like that. I'm not sure of that name. And I called Vinny, and Vinny, he was real nice. He gave me the guy's number. And another time I went out to his place just to say hello and introduce myself. That was it. No big deal. But we didn't stand around and talk about neck joints and neck through constructions or anything like that. I didn't talk to Ned Steinberger about that. I never talked to any of those guys about any of that stuff. The only one that came close to that would be Ken Smith, who used to practically live in my shop back in those days, Back in the early, even before I made basses. Ken had a studio downstairs in the same building, And what that really does in the long run, actually, you distort history when you do that. You're trying to write a book, and you're saying the definitive book on bass makers. Bullshit. Truly, it is. It is just that. And then you got people endorsing it, like Will Lee. Will Lee's a great musician, no doubt about it. I know Will a long time, not a problem. But, for Will and people like that to endorse a book, I think it's about time that somebody came along and did a really book. Will, seriously. You were never in the shop. You didn't sit down. You really don't know that. And for you to endorse that is just silly. I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for what I'm saying right now, but that's okay. I've had slack all my life. Not a big deal. What it is I'm the truth. This is the truth. That's what it's all about. And you can talk all you want. I was there, and you weren't. And I did it, and you didn't. No big deal. It just shouldn't be that way, that's all. Just do what you do and do it. And that's it.